Hello and welcome to today's math lesson. Please make sure you have your equipment ready, pen and some paper to start the lesson. Here you can see 6 starter questions for you to do. Pause the video for 7-8 minutes, have a go with all of them, then start the video again to just check your answers. Okay, here you can see all the answers for a starter. Mark them and record your scores and then email it to your class teacher. First question, you're ordering the number from ascending means from smallest to biggest. Second question, highest common factor. We know how to find the highest common factor. List the factors and find which one is in common and is the highest one. Definitely you can do C. And D. For E, when you're converting a mixed number to improper fraction, you times that number by that number. So 8 times 7, which is 56, at the top, which is 58. That 58 goes at the top and denominator stay as it was, 7. Okay, simplify it. You need to simplify whatever you have at the top and write it at the top. Then whatever you have at the denominator, you work out the answer for that bit and write it as a denominator. Okay, 5 at 15 is 20, 20 at 40 is 60, that 60 goes at the top. A square root of 36, which means what number if I times it by itself, I get 36 is 6 times 6, so the answer is 6, goes as a denominator. Then fraction is a division, 60 divided by 6 is equal to 10. As I said, record your score, email it to your class teacher. Very well done if you managed to do all 6 of them right. In today's lesson, we will look how we can add and subtract fractions with the different denominators. We've done addition and subtraction for fraction with a same denominator, so you all are able to do it. Now today we will learn how we can do the different denominators. We need to make sure we can find the lowest common multiple of the numbers first, and then at the end we would be able to just do add and subtract different denominators. Okay, let's start with some examples. As you can see, I have addition, but then I don't have a same denominator. If you remember, in the same denominator, I always kept asking you to just check the denominator. If they are the same, write one of the denominator at the top. But then in here, we don't have that first condition, so it's not the same denominator. So we have to make the denominator the same first step, then we can carry on with whatever we were doing with the same denominators. But now, how can I change the different denominator to the same denominators? First step, to find the lowest, we need to do common denominator, so we have to make the denominator the same, which we call it making the common denominator. But for finding the perfect common denominator, you need to make sure you find the lowest common multiple between the denominators. For finding the lowest common multiple between 7 and 5, 7 and 5, they are denominator, aren't they? So you need to find the lowest common multiple for between 7 and 5. If you remember, for finding the lowest common multiple, you would have listed the 7 times table. You would have listed 5 times table. They are the multiples there. And then find which one is in common in both time table and is the lowest one. So you know how to list the lowest common multiple and find the lowest common multiple. So if you do that, if you list the multiple of 7s and multiple of 5, as I said, is the same as times table, then you will just check which one is what number is in common in both times table and is the lowest one. That would be the lowest common multiple. In this case, lowest common multiple between 7 and 5, it is 35. Okay, now that I know the lowest common multiple between 7 and 5, it is 35, which means 35 is in both times table. What can I do? I can just use the equivalent fraction to make the denominator the same. But how can I do it? If you look at the first fraction, 2 over 7, I need to make the denominator for both of those fractions as 35. What do I need to do to 7 to get to 35? What number do I need to times it by? and you times it by 5. So if I times 7 by 5, I get 35. I have to do the same things at the top as well. So I need to times 2 by 5 as well. Okay. So I've done with the first fraction. What about second fraction? What number do I need to times the second fraction by to get to 35? Times by 7. So whatever you've done as a denominator, you have to do the same for numerator as well. So you times the top by 7 as well. So now I just need to do that calculation and write it down. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10 and 7 times 5 is 35. So my first fraction changed from 2 to 7, changed to equivalent fraction as 10 to 35. 10 over 35. Now for second fraction, 2 times 7 it is 14 and 7 times 5 is 35, and it was addition between. So my second fraction from 2 to 5 changed to 14 over 35, which is equivalent fraction again. So I haven't changed the question, I just used the equivalent fraction. But have you noticed what happened? The denominator are the same now. So I just found the lowest common multiple, found the equivalent fraction for those, and have the denominator the same. So now that I have the denominator the same, what I can do? Write one of the denominator, which is 35, and then add the top. So 10 add 14 is 24, and the denominator is 35. You need to double check. If you can simplify it at the end. But in this case, you can't simplify it more, so that's going to be your last answer. Okay, now pause the video and have a go with video, please. You need to follow exactly the same steps. As I said, the same steps. So first of all, look at the denominator. They are not the same, so I need to make them the same to be able to do the calculation. First step to make the denominator the same is to find the lowest common multiple. So I need to work out the lowest common multiple between 3 and 5. So I need to list the multiple of 3, multiple of 5, which is exactly the same as their times table, and find which number is in common in both of them and is the lowest one, which is 15. So I need to make sure I change that denominator to 15. But how can I make 3 to be to 15? I need to times it by 5. Whatever I do on denominator, I do at the top. So I need to times 2 by 5 as well. What do I need to do to 5, to second fraction, to get to 15? I need to times it by 3. The same thing need to happen at the top. Okay, now I need to write my equivalent fraction. For the first one, 2 times 5 is 10 and 3 times 5 is 15. So I have 10 over 15. And for second fraction, I have 2 times 3, which is 6, and 5 times 3, which is 15. So I have 6 over 15. I had addition between. Now I have the same denominator. I'm going to write one of the denominators and at the top. So I have 16 over 15. Now, as I said, double check your answer if you can simplify it. I can't simplify it, but I end up with top heavy fraction, which means I have a bigger number at the top. So I can write that improper fraction as a mixed number. To do that, how many times? 15 goes into 16 1 times, and how many left over? 1, and denominator stay as it is. So we've done improper fraction to mixed number before, so you know how to do this step. Very well done if you managed to do this right. Okay, let's do more practice now. This time we have subtraction, but the rule is exactly the same as addition. Look at the denominator, they're not the same, so you need to make the denominator the same. You need to do the common denominator. To do the common denominator, you need to find the lowest common multiple between the denominators first. So find the lowest common multiple between 3 and 5. Write the times table for 3, write the times table for 5, and check which one is in common in both of them and is the lowest one, which is 15. So you need to make the both denominator as 15. What number do I need to times 3 by to get to 15? Times by 5. You do the same things at the top. What number do I need to times 5 by to get to 15? Sorry, times by 3, and you do the same things at the top. Now you're gonna write the equivalent fraction for them. 2 times 5 is 10 over 15, so that's the first fraction. Then subtract second fraction, which is 6 over 15. Now we have the same denominator, so I'm going to write one of the denominators and subtract the top. 10 take away 6 is 4, so 4 over 15. Double check, I can't simplify my answer, so that's going to be my last answer. Now pause the video and have a go with video question, please. Okay, in here again, different denominator, you need to do the common denominator. For doing that, you need to find the lowest common multiple between 3 and 15. If you list the times table for 3 and 15 and just check which one is in common and is the lowest one, it is 15. So you need to make the 3 to get to 15. So what number do I need to times by to get to 15? Times by 5. You need to do the same things at the top. If you look at the second fraction, the denominator, it is already 15, so you don't need to change the second fraction at all. Okay, if I just write the equivalent fraction for the first one, I have 10 over 15. Then subtract 10 over 15, which is in the same denominator. Write one of them. 10 take away 10 is 0. So 0 over 15. 0 over anything gonna be equal to 0. So your last answer is 0. Very, very well done if you manage to do this one right. Okay, more practice. Again, I look at the denominators. They are not the same, so I need to make them the same denominator. For doing that, I need to do lowest common multiple. If you list the multiple of 10 and if you list the multiple of 15, which is, as I said, exactly the same as timetable, and find which one is in a common and is the lowest one, you end up with 30. So the lowest common multiple between 10 and 15 is 30. If you got 60 or something else, it means you didn't find the lowest one. Okay, now what number do I need to times 10 by to get to 30? 3. I do the same things at the top. What number do I need to times 15 by to get to 30? 2. I do the same things at the top. Now I need to write the equivalent fraction, so I get 6 over 30 for the first one, then add 20 over 30 for the second one. Now I end up with the same denominator. What I'm gonna do, write one of the denominators and at the top, so I end up with 26 over 30. As I keep saying, check your last answer if you can simplify it. As you can see, both of them, 26 and 30, they are even numbers, so at least they are divisible by 2. So if you divide 26 by 2, you get 13, and if you divide 30 by 2, you get 15. And double check it. Is it in the simplest form? Yes, it is. So you don't need to simplify more, but you need to make sure you keep simplifying until you get your last answer in the simplest form. Now have a go with video, but make sure when you're dealing with 3 fractions, there is 2 ways to do it, but one way you can do the first 2, whatever is the answer, then subtract the last one. Pause the video, have a go and see if you can do it. As you realize, the first 2 fractions is exactly the same as these 2. So if I just quickly show you, if this is one way to do 3 fractions though. I'm going to show you the different way in the next slide, but let's have a look at this one first. Okay, so I just done exactly the same as I've done in the first one. So I work out the answer for first 2, which was 13 over 15. Then I pick the answer that I have for these 2, then subtract the last one. So I subtract the 2/3. Then I need to do exactly the same again. What is the lowest common multiple between 3 and 15? It is 15, so I need to just do the common denominator. For this one, the denominator is already 15, so I don't need to change anything. But for this one, what number do I need to times 3 by to get to 15? Times by 5. You do the same things at the top. Write the equivalent fraction. So the first one didn't change at all. The second one changed to 10 over 15. Now I have a same denominator, subtraction between. I write one of the denominators, subtract the top, which is 10 over 15. Check your answer if it's in simplest form. Both 3 and 15, they are both divisible by 3. So if I divide top and bottom by 3, I end up with 1 over 5, because 3 divided by 3 is 1, 15 divided by 3 is 5, and this is the simplest answer. Excellent if you manage to do this one right. Okay, as I said, I just want to show a different way to do 3 fractions as well. What I've done in a previous slide, I just look at the first 2, worked it out, and then with the third one. But in here, when I want to do the common denominator, I'm going to look at all 3 at the same time. So then I'm going to find the lowest common multiple between 5, 15 and 3. So you need to list the multiple of 5, multiple of 15 and multiple of 3, and find which one is the lowest one and it is in common in all 3 of them, which you end up with 15. So now it means you need to make all the denominator as 15. What number do I need to times 5 by to get to 15? 3. Do the same things at the top. I don't need to do anything on a second second fraction, because the denominator it is already 15. And for a last one, what number do I need to times 3 by to get to 15? 5. You do the same things at the top. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna write the question with the equivalent fraction now. So for the first one, I have 3 over 15, second one stay as it was, and the third one change to 10 over 15. Then in here, you could then just easily say, okay, all the denominator, they are 15, so write one of the denominator, and 3 at 10 is 13, take away 10 is 3, so your last answer going to be 3 over 15. Or just say, okay, the first 2, you look at the first 2, you end up with 13 over 15, same denominator, write one of them at the top, and then pick that one and the last one and say, okay, same denominator, write one of the denominator, 13, take away 10 is 3 over 15. You will still get the same answer. Okay, now pause the video and have a go with video, please. Now in here again, I use this method. So I'm just going to look at 3, 5 and 4, all 3 of them, to just see which one is the what is the lowest common multiple between these 3 numbers. So you list the 3 times table, you list the 5 times table, you list the 4 times table until you get the first number in common and it's with the lowest one. If you do that, you end up with 60. So the lowest common multiple between 3, 5 and 4, it is 60. So you need to make all the denominator as 60. So let's start with the first one. What number do I need to times 3 by to get to 60? By 20. You do the same things at the top. What number do I need to times 5 by to get to 60? By 12. You times the top with the same number. What number do I need to times 4 by to get to 60? Times by 15. You do the same things at the top. Now you need to write the equivalent fraction for all 3 of them. So for first one you have 40 over 60. For this one you have, then subtract 12 over 60, then subtract 15 over 60. Now that you have all same denominator, you can do the first 2 together and then the answer with the third one. So if I do this way, for the first 2 I get same denominator, write one of them. 40 take away 12 is 28. Then I pick this one with the last one. So 28 over 60 take away 15 over 60. Again, same denominator, write one of them, subtract the top. So you end up with 13 over 60. Now in here, there is practice exercise for you to just do some more practice on different questions. Please pause the video for 10 minutes, have a go with all of them, then start the video again to check your answers. Here you can see all the answers. Make sure you mark it, record your score, and then email it to your class teacher. And what is your score? You need to email it to your class teacher. Just make sure, for example, E, F, they could have, if you can simplify it, you have to simplify your answer. those questions that you could have simplified, you have to simplify. The both answer been written to just make sure if is your last answer is it without simplifying or with simplifying. So that's why both answer is there, but just make sure the question was asking you to calculate and simplify it, so you have to write your answer and your simplest answer as well. So as I said, record your score and email it to your class teacher, please. In here you can see slightly different questions. What's happening in here, you need to fill the gaps, you need to find that missing fraction in here. To find that missing fraction in here, because that can be kind of question that you can see in your test, to find that missing fraction in there, what you can do, again, same things. Look at those two denominators that you already have. You have 7 and you have 5. So again, you need to do common denominator, because without having same denominator in addition and subtraction, we can't do that calculation. So the denominator, they has to be the same. They have to be the same. So I have 7 and 5. So I look for lowest common multiple again between 7 and 5, which is 35. So I know that I need to make that denominator as 35 and that denominator as 35 as well. So what number do I need to times 7 by? 5. And same at the top. What number do I need to times 5 by? And then same things at the top. Yeah. Okay. So we've done that. Then I just rewrite the question. But just look at it. I just wrote the first fraction, which is 10 over 35. Then addition. What happened to the second fraction that was missing? Still, I'm not sure about tops, so I just left it blank. But then for denominator, I'm sure that it has to be 35, because it has to be the same denominator. Then I can work out the answer. So that's why for a denominator, you would write 35. All denominator has to be the same. But I left the numerator as a blank, because I'm not sure yet what number needs to go there. But then for last one, 4 times 7 is 28 and 5 times 7 is 35. So I've done the common denominator. Then I need to find the gap. We've done that lesson before when you had all the denominator the same. So what you would have just done, okay, denominator the same, one of them there. What number do I need to add by 10? Do I need to add to 10 to get to 28? It is 18. So I found that fraction that was missing. Okay. Again, pause the video and have a go with video, please. Again, for finding the missing fraction, look at the denominators that you have. They are not the same. If they were the same, we could have just easily looked at the numerator. But because they are not the same, we need to make them the same first. So for doing that, for doing the common denominator, I need to do the lowest common multiple between 3 and 5, which is 15. Now, what number do I need to times 3 by to get to 15? Times by 5 to do the same things at the top. What number do I need to times 5 by to get to 13? Times by 3, you do the same things at the top. Okay. Now I just rewrite the question with the equivalent fraction that I've got. For the first fraction, I have 10 over 15. Then add, I don't know about the top, but I'm sure the denominator has to be 15. Then equal 12 over 15. Okay, all the denominator are the same. So what do I need to just do in here? 10 add what? Give you 12? Add 2. So that missing fraction was 2 over 15. Okay. Just a couple of more examples on what we've just done. Okay, again, I'm looking for that missing fraction, so I need to look at the denominators first. So I need to make the denominator the same. 15 and 5. What is the lowest common multiple between 15 and 5? It is 15. Okay, so I need to make the denominator as 15. This is already 15, so I don't need to change anything on this one. For this one, what number do I need to times 5 by to get to 15? 3. You do the same things at the top. So I'm just going to rewrite the question with the equivalent fraction that I found. The first one, stay as it was. Okay, addition, denominator, I'm sure it should be 15 and I'm not sure about the top, so I'll leave it blank, equal to 4 times 3 is 12 and 5 times 3 is 15. Now I need to fill that gap. Okay, 2 add what gives you 12? Add 10. So that missing fraction was 10 over 15. Now have a go with Vidu, but just be careful when you have 1 what you can replace 1 by. Let's see if you can do it. Pause the video, have a go with it, and then start the video again. Okay, as I said, you can replace 1, as I said before as well, if you have a fraction that numerator and denominator are the same number, they are all equal to 1. Million over million, 235 over 235, they are all equal to 1. But what I'm going to use in here, I'm going to decide based on the denominator that I have in here, because I want to end up with the same denominator. So I'm going to pick 15 over 15 instead of 1. So if I would just rewrite my question, nothing needs to be changed on the first one, because already I have all the denominator as 15. Okay, what number do I need to add to 2 to get to 15? 13. So that missing number was 13. That missing fraction was 13 over 15. Very well done if you managed to do this one right. A bit tricky though. Okay, and for the last part of our lesson, you just do more practice on whatever we've just done. Pause the video and have a go with all questions, see what you can do, and then start the video again to just check your answers. Here you can see all the answers for last part of our lesson. Mark it properly. As you can see, some answer can be written as a mixed number, for example E, and some answer can be simplified, same as H. Make sure you record your score again and email all the score that you got from the beginning of the lesson up to the end, and email all the score to your class teacher. If you have any question, email your class teacher and let them know, and I see you next time.